If you are training for your first 70.3 and following a stock online plan, but you want to get a little bit more dialed in, this is the exact video for you. In this video, I walk through upgrading an exact training plan from really stock generic endurance stuff to getting very dialed in heading into a 70.3. I've got an athlete inside of Tribal Training, Phil Lee, and he is on the community plan. So he's in on the team chat, he's in on the team calls, he's doing the team race, but he is not programmed by me. He is not a one-on-one athlete with me. And he's been building towards the race, and he hit me up and he was like, dude, I'm thinking that I'm feeling good about my plan, but I could use some oversight and I could use a little bit of direction. So would you mind taking a look at this and let me know what you think? And so in this video, I basically just tell him exactly what I would do. I drag in exact sessions, and I tell you exactly how I would upgrade somebody from a really basic, just do all kinds of zone 2 stuff to here's how we can do intervals and higher intensity training to really get dialed in. All right, Phil, what is going on, dude? Inside the plan here, man. Thank you for giving me a chance to look into this. I added some notes, but I figured I'd also just drop a Loom here to talk you through just what I was seeing and why I added in some of the suggested workouts for you. So first thing is that, dude, I'm definitely impressed with what you're working with here. It was cool to get to look into this. You've got good volume, of course. I knew that. I'll be curious to see what kind of plan you're working off of here. It looks like you are following some type of TSS structure, as well as, of course, total volume. I saw you got an annual training plan loaded in, which is sweet. But as I was looking at this, really, of course, want to take a look at like your overall events. So scrolling down here, obviously, the big one is Chattanooga 70.3, 9 weeks out right now. Then 2 weeks before that, you got the Olympic. Then 2 weeks before that, you got the sprint. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks before that, you got this half marathon, which is great. And then that brings us basically to the week that we're in here right here now. So that was really the first thing that I looked at. And then the next was just like, what are the workouts that you're getting into? So to me, I was assuming that this foundation stuff, like I see foundation rides, foundation runs, to me, that would appear to be your standard zone 2 endurance type stuff. And the biggest opportunity that I saw for some development here on the plan was adding in some more higher intensity structure, both within like weekday shorter sessions, but then also within some longer sessions that are really getting you primed up for the 70.3. So I'll just talk through some of the things that I suggested here. I didn't really change up anything in these next 2 weeks, knowing that you've got this 13.1 coming up. I mean, that'll be great to just have that as a foundation for having the half marathon distance locked in, 7 or 8 weeks out from Chattanooga at that point. Any session that I added in a little note, RD ride or RD run, and a quick little abbreviation of what I think we could leverage here for you. So this ride here, this low cadence muscle tension, this is a really standard one that I like to use. It's just 2 20-minute tempo sets at low cadence, 60 to 70 cadence. I didn't add much other cadence variation for you, but one thing that we do lean on is that low cadence work to develop some of the slow twitch fibers. But then also this ride, I mean, a huge value add for this one is like a long, suffering 20-minute tempo set to really stretch your capacity here. I find those a little bit more effective than some of the shorter set type stuff. And then similar concept here for this free ride that you've got. So this is a 3-hour ride, and this fits perfectly in with this big boy tempo ladder that I program. And this is basically progressive sets of 15 minutes, then 20, then 30, then 15 of tempo work. So this is a big, hard ride, but it really just stretches your capacity and, really builds some strength in the lower body. Working through here. So I saw a little bit of opportunity for kind of in the other direction. I just said that longer tempo sets on the bike are valuable, but one thing that I really like to guide guys with is this concept of gear shifting, coming in and out of tempo, back to endurance, sometimes up into threshold if we need to, but this fast, faster, fastest run is a really strong one that I like. Gives you the chance to ramp in and out of that tempo zone and really push it up towards like a threshold. The idea is that you're getting a little faster each time. For somebody like you, like a 45-minute run, this one's a little bit longer, but it's a midweek run. I think that you can get a little bit more out of a run that goes through some different interval progressions rather than just one block of interval. So that was really what I was thinking there for you. The next thing that I loaded in was this Ronestad interval, which is really similar structure to 30-30s. The 30-30s are obviously 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, but the Ronestad intervals are 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off. So there's a little bit of a shorter rest, and overall, that's a little bit of a theme that I sprinkled in here for the remainder of the plan, is that your higher intensity sessions can have a little bit of a shorter rest, give you a little bit more bang for the work you're putting out. This Ronestad ride, it goes through 13 rounds of 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off, and then it does that 3 times. 13 rounds, that gets right up to about 10 minutes of work. So it's about 3 10-minute segments of work. Again, fairly similar to the idea of 30-30s, just a little bit more, right? The 30-30s, I think I saw that they were 8 rounds of 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So that's 8 minutes of work, a little bit more work, right? With a shorter rest, but same type of concept. And then that same idea of shorter rest is what I had in mind for you here with this VO2 Beast 1.0. So this is one of the standard VO2 rides that I give. And this goes through 6-minute progressions. You basically start with 6 rounds. Sorry, it's not 6-minute progressions, 6-round progressions. So you start with 6 rounds of 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. Then you get 5 minutes recovery. Then it's 6 rounds of 1 minute on, 1 minute off, and then 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. And I have found that that shorter rest period is a little bit more effective than, I think these are 2.5-minute rests that you had. I was looking into this, 3:30 hard, 2:30 rest. So, I mean, of course, still a really good workout, but just something different that you might consider. Then over here, so then the next thing that I was really thinking of for you is like, okay, almost all of your runs here that I saw that were long runs were just the stock endurance run. And for an athlete of your caliber, right, you've done an Ironman, you're coming back to 70.3. I think it's really important to start getting dialed in on your run race pacing. Like, we're going to have known that you can run 13.1. Of course, we know you can do that, but like, you'll have just run the half a couple of weeks back. So getting into these runs, I wanted to give you this long interval run, which is basically a little bit of a combo of 30-30s and then a 2x20 minute tempo. So you get 6 rounds of 30-30s to kind of prime you up, and then you go right into 20 minutes tempo, and then you come down for a recovery and you do it all again. And I typically find that whatever you can hold for that 20-minute tempo effort, assuming that the first segment and the second segment are the same, that tends to be a good target for your 70.3 run race pacing. All right, getting into now some of these races. So another thing that I thought would be valuable for you is that if you're doing this much work to get a sprint in, you might as well ride for a bit the next day. I mean, I know that you've got church and family stuff, and I can see here that Sundays are typically your off day. So if it doesn't work out, so be it. But one of the themes on building up towards a 70.3 or an Ironman is that if we can compress the window of time that you're doing the total distance, like, that is a way to leverage the fitness. So I think that just getting some kind of volume in the next day would be great. If that meant that you need to move Monday to be the rest day, like, so be it. That would be totally fine. Same idea here. I added in some 30-30s for you. Just seeing a little bit too many, in my opinion, of these foundation runs. I mean, they're of course not hurting you, but we can add in a little bit of spice. I wanted to keep that 3:30 ride standard there. We had the tempo one a couple weeks back. What was that? Maybe 4 or 5 weeks back. So maybe you could add in a little bit of tempo there if you wanted to, but just a long, good endurance ride. That's good for you. I would consider coming off of this 2:30 run. This would be dependent on like how the half went, how the run's progressing, but this would be another opportunity to get into some long tempo efforts for race pacing. I would consider breaking this maybe into 2 runs if you really wanted to get some big volume. But, we're also working with the fact that you've got races all around. So we don't have that many opportunities to get in some longer tempo work. I mean, of course, the races will be at that kind of an effort, but we want to work in some tempo stuff on some long runs as well, so we can just get a feel for what we can target in the race. Same deal on the Olympic. I would do something the day after that one for sure. That would almost be more important to do afterwards than the sprint. Gave you the fastest ride here again. Just another opportunity, right? You've got 3 runs this week, and this is a good example. Like, that's endurance, that's endurance, that's endurance. That ride is endurance, that ride's endurance. So from what I'm seeing here, this is a good example of just like why I think you could use a little bit more high intensity stuff. You've got some cruise intervals, but like those shouldn't be too taxing. And the rest of this week is so standard endurance, right? So we got to add a little bit of spice here. I would even consider adding in, no, well, we're close to the race there. I mean, the idea here is that they were definitely getting into the taper, but like at the same point, we don't want to just, we still want to trick the body into thinking that it's putting out the higher intensity stuff. So, the low cadence muscle tension, I think that could be an option there. I'll just make a live note here, like, could do this. High but don't want to be all Z2. Okay. Then into race week. So the only thing I added here was I just gave you this opener ride. I really like this one. It's a great way to just check in on the bike if you've flown with it. I don't think you're flying. I know you're driving, but it's just a good way to get a system check on the bike, and just a couple quick segments of just putting out a little bit of power, a little bit of juice, but mostly a very, very easy ride. So yeah, overall, that's what I've got for you. If you got any feedback or questions, let me know. But I enjoyed this, man. Thank you so much.